Hey, I'm Dave, and welcome to Table Ready Gaming. I don't think that it's any secret that there's a certain segment of the online community that loves to hate things. And in fact, as a YouTuber, I have seen criticism around my channel, at other channels, and just at other users in online communities. If you haven't been able to figure it out by now, today's episode is going to be about criticism, and more specifically, constructive criticism, how to receive it and how to give it. Now, at first, it might be tempting to just always turn a deaf ear to criticism and ignore it completely. But quite frankly, if you learn to use it, criticism can be a whetstone that you use to sharpen your creative endeavors. Criticism is a good thing, and it shouldn't bother you, and it doesn't bother me. You see, criticism helps you find errors that you may not see in your own work. Or, better yet, to find errors that other people see so you know what to focus on and what to ignore. I'm sure you've heard a lot of artists say, but I'm my own worst critic. And see, that's the thing. In truth, you probably are. Because you see every mistake that you've made in a project. Every little missed mold line, every little scrape of paint that you didn't quite get, the cross eyes, pupils, and so on. But see, the joy about what criticism can do and what other people can do is they can tell you what other people are seeing in your work and let you know if your priorities on what to improve are aligned with what you really need to improve on. The trick is deciphering what criticism to listen to and what to ignore. In life, you're going to hear two different kinds. You're going to hear constructive criticism and destructive. You want to listen to the former and, like I said, ignore the later. Constructive criticism is criticism that's going to help you improve on your project or passions. Destructive criticism is there to put you down and something you should ignore entirely. That said, it's not always easy to decipher what kind of criticism you're receiving, because frankly, most people suck at giving it. People have the tact of delivering criticism like a baseball bat to the side of the head. So the easy trick to deciphering destructive criticism for constructive criticism is when we hear someone criticize our work, we need to take a breath, step back, not lose our temper, and ask yourself a simple question. Does this person have my best interest at heart? If the answer is yes, then this is criticism we might want to listen to. Keyword there is might. There's a little bit more we want to think about. However, if we can answer that question with no, this person doesn't care at me at all and is trying to hurt my feelings, then this is criticism we should just simply ignore. Now there's a second part to this. Once we've decided that this person does have our best interests at heart and might be trying to give us constructive criticism, now we have to decide, is this constructive criticism that's worth listening to? And to answer that, there's two questions or two categories of people we should listen to. A, people we're trying to impress. This might be a judge or a friend or significant other that we want to look at our hobby and be like, ooh, wow. Or, you know, if you're a commission painter, absolutely a client. That's someone that you want to listen to about criticism about your work. And, or, is this someone we're trying to emulate? For example, if there is someone that is a skilled miniature painter and they are giving me criticism, I'm probably likely to listen to them, especially if I, like their work and want to try to move my hobby in a direction of what they're currently doing. But if this is someone who has never picked up a paintbrush, I'm going to take everything they say with a grain of salt. I mean, sure, they might have a little bit of value in what they're saying, because, frankly, sometimes it's easier to recognize talent than it is to produce it. If you think that person has their best interest at heart and is someone you want to impress or is worth emulating, then the criticism is probably something worth listening to. And see, the real joy about criticism in our hobby is that unlike work or commission painting or any sort of freelance projects that we might do on the side, your hobby is all about you and your enjoyment in it. And what do you want to get out of it? So if at the end of the day, you're having a good time and you're having fun and you're happy with the projection of your project and your work, then you can ignore all criticism. It really doesn't matter. Now, with all that out of the way, one of the main goals for starting Table Ready Gaming and why I sitting in my basement in front of a camera trying to put this video together is that I want to help contribute to the online tabletop gaming community. And part of that contribution is helping people give criticism, because I honestly believe that criticism, when done right, can make our entire community better. So let's flip the tables and talk about giving constructive criticism. See, when you're giving criticism, the most important rule and something you should always follow is be sure you're criticizing the individual's work and not the person themselves. Second, when you're giving constructive criticism, it's important to be specific on what you're criticizing. Something like, that sucks, or that paint job is terrible, doesn't really help anyone. Be specific in what you're criticizing and how the person can improve, and for even extra points, offer them advice on how to improve. Third thing you could try when offering criticism is to offer a criticism sandwich. Now, honestly, I think this is a somewhat corny term, and it comes from Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. The trick is that you start with a compliment, you put the criticism in the middle, and then you end with a compliment. You might say something like, "Hey Dave, great elf you got there painted. However, I think the shadows could be pushed a little bit further. Have you tried applying an ink or a wash in the recesses? That said, I really like how the cloak came out. You did a great job there." Now, the only way this works is if the compliment in the front and the compliment at the end are sincere, and that if you offer truly constructive criticism in the middle. I think a better piece of advice, though, is don't front load your buts. See, when we're talking about buts, and in this sense, the conjunction in a sentence, not the thing you're currently sitting on. See, the thing about a statement with the word but in it is that all the emotional emphasis comes after the conjunction.
Conjunction, junction, what's your function?
Hooking up words and phrases and clauses.
And a lot of us have this bad habit of saying, "Hey, that's a great looking miniature you have there, but the shadows could be better." Instead, try flipping that around. Say something like, "Hey, I think those shadows could be stronger, but overall, that miniature looks awesome." See, that way you're leaving me with a strong emotional connection on a positive, not a negative. But you can use these skills outside of our miniature hobby to improve just life in general. Let's say, for example, some of your buddies call you up and they're like, "Hey Dave, let's go play a game of Warhammer," or something like that. You might say, "Oh man, that sounds like a lot of fun. I wish I could, but I have to stay at home and bathe my cat
Singing in the
tonight."
bathtub, singing all alone, tearing out a tonsil just like a baritone. Never take a shower, it's an awful pain.
See, instead, you should say something like, "Oh man, my cat's filthy. I gotta wash her tonight. But I'd really love to play a game. Let's schedule something in the future." See, and that way again, you're ending on that positive high note of that you like your friends and you do want to see them. And also remember, in our hobby, you should really only give criticism if it's asked for. I mean, unlike our daily lives where we might have to give criticism that's unsolicited, generally, if someone online is painting a miniature differently than how you would do it, it doesn't affect your daily life at all. So if they're not asking for critical feedback, don't give it. "Hey, great job, thumbs up, upvote on Reddit." That's all you gotta do. It's a fine line between giving criticism constructively and becoming part of the "you're having fun wrong" crowd. So let's say you're wanting to receive criticism and you're looking for places where you can get it to help improve yourself to be a better hobbyist. I would first suggest looking at your local game store, your FLGS. This can be a great community and a great place to get feedback from people who have been doing this a lot longer than you have. If you don't have a friendly local game store, maybe look at trying to create a community of just a group chat on Facebook or of local painters and friends and stuff like that. I'm a part of that for the KC, Missouri area. It's called the MoCan Paint Group. It's an amazing community. If you're in the Kansas City, Missouri area, you should join. Another great place online is the r/mini painting. It's a great subreddit. Now, it's not a perfect online community. Sure, there's trolls like anyone has, but for the most part, I believe people on there really want to see new painters improve, and most of the criticism I've seen has been very beneficial. Lastly, Bard's Craft is running an open Discord. He's another great YouTuber. Check out his online community. The guys in there are super supportive. Now, they do lean heavily to the terrain crafting because that's what his channel's mainly about, and if you haven't seen it yet, I would strongly suggest checking it out. However, before you start looking for a lot of feedback, remember, you're in this hobby for yourself. A hobby should relieve stress, not induce it. And at the end of the day, Just because you're not the best miniature painter online, or you see work that's better than yours, that doesn't mean you have any less of a right to be proud in the work that you're producing. So be proud of it. Show it off! So if you made it this far into the video, I hope you're enjoying the content. And if you do, I'd appreciate you hitting that like button. If this is your first time watching a Table Ready Gaming video, please consider subscribing, especially if you want more advice on how to get to the game table faster and how to improve your hobby. That's the goal of this channel.